What if I told you that something you throw away every single day, without a second thought, is actually one of the most powerful, free, and frankly, amazing resources for your garden? Well, by the end of this, I promise you, you will never look at an orange the same way again. Let's get right into it. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight with you. That's exactly how I felt. I was standing in this beautiful orchard in Valencia, Spain, with the sun beating down, and it hit me. I was thinking about my own garden back home and how I was pouring money down the drain. All those fancy fertilizers, those little plastic bottles of blue liquid that promise miracles. My plants were, well, they were surviving, but they definitely weren't thriving. So, this whole journey, this big revelation for me, it all started with an 80-year-old woman named Maria. Her garden, oh man, it had no fancy gadgets, no automated sprinklers, and absolutely no expensive chemicals. But it was breathtaking. And the difference was just night and day. My garden had these sad, yellowish leaves, plants that looked like they were apologizing for taking up space. But Maria's, her rose bushes looked like they were straight out of a movie, and her lemon trees were so heavy with fruit they were literally bending over. My expensive, complicated approach was getting me nowhere, while her super simple method was creating this paradise. So, I had to ask. I just had to know. I was fully expecting her to tell me about some ancient, secret family recipe, maybe a special kind of compost or some complicated planting schedule based on the moon. I was braced for something complex, something that would justify the incredible results I was looking at. And you know what she did? She just laughed, wiped her hands on her apron, and pointed to this old bucket sitting by her kitchen door. And what was inside? Not some magic potion, it was just orange peels. Simple, everyday orange peels just sitting there, drying in the sun. That was it. And that was the exact moment I felt like a complete idiot. Then she looked at me and said something that it hit me like a ton of bricks. She said, "Son, the earth is hungry and you are throwing the food in the trash." And I realized with every single peel I'd ever tossed out, I was throwing away gold. I was literally throwing away the exact solution my sad little plants were crying out for. This isn't just some gardening tip, you guys. It's a whole new way of looking at what we call waste. So let's get into the why. Why does this actually work? And don't worry, you don't need a chemistry degree for this. It's just good old-fashioned common sense. Just think of your plants like little athletes. To be at the top of their game, they need the right kind of fuel. And it turns out we've been feeding them junk food while throwing the superfood in the garbage. First up, we've got phosphorus. That's the P in the NPK you see on all those fertilizer bags, and it's basically the gasoline for your plant's engine. It's what ignites root growth deep in the soil, and crucially, it's what flips the switch to tell the plant, hey, it's time to make flowers. So if your plants are all leaves and no blooms, they're starving for phosphorus, which, you guessed it, you've probably been throwing away. Then there's potassium, the K. I want you to think of potassium as your plant's personal bodyguard. It builds up its immune system, makes it tough. It helps the plant manage water, moving it from the roots all the way to the tips of the leaves. So when a heat wave comes along, or you maybe forget to water for a day, a plant that has enough potassium is like, no problem, I got this. Without it, plants get weak, stressed out, and just flimsy. But okay, here's the real game changer. This is the secret weapon, the thing that made Maria just laugh at my expensive bug sprays. It's a compound called D-Limonene. Sounds all sciencey, I know, but it's just the essential oil in the peel. You know when you squeeze an orange peel and you see that little mist spray out? That's it. And to garden pets, that stuff is a weapon of mass destruction. And here's how it works. It's not really a poison, it's more like a disruptor. For ants, who follow these invisible chemical trails to find your plants, D-Limonene is basically a GPS jammer. It completely scrambles their navigation system and they get totally lost. For soft-bodied pests like aphids, it's an irritant. And cats? Oh, they absolutely cannot stand the smell. So they'll finally stop using your favorite rosebush as their personal toilet. All of this for free? Okay, so you're probably convinced by now. But hold on, you can't just go tossing whole peels into your pots. That's a great way to attract flies and mold, which we definitely don't want. We need to process this amazing raw material. We have to do a little bit of kitchen alchemy to turn these peels into what I like to call gold dust for our plants. Don't worry, it's a super simple 4-step process. First, we prepare the peels. Second, and this is the most important step, we have to dry them out completely. Third, we grind them up into a fine powder. And finally, we store our gold dust so it's ready for battle whenever we need it. So let's break down each one of those steps. When it comes to drying, you've got two main options. There's the Zen path, which is Maria's way. Just lay the peels out on a tray, let the sun do all the work for about a week. You'll know they're ready when you can snap one and it breaks like a potato chip. If it bends, it's not ready yet. Or if you're a bit impatient like me, there's the impatient path. Just set your oven to its absolute lowest temperature. Prop the door open with a wooden spoon so moisture can escape, and in about an hour or two, you've got rock-hard peels and a house that smells absolutely incredible. All right, now listen up, because here's a pro tip that I had to learn the hard way after my tomato plants got that ugly black spot on the bottom, blossom and rot. The secret is calcium. So for the ultimate plant superfood, when you're grinding your peels, throw in some dried out eggshells. It gives your plants this massive calcium boost. It's like giving them strong bones. Trust me, this combo is a total game changer. So, you've done it. You've made your magic powder. Now what? Well, you now have a seriously powerful new weapon in your gardening arsenal. Let's talk tactics. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to deploy it, taking you from defense to emergency rescue to long-term health. Okay, technique number 1, the wall of fire. This is your defensive perimeter. Just sprinkle a generous circle of the powder on the soil all the way around the base of your plants. It creates this no-go zone that stops pests like ants and cats dead in their tracks. Technique number 2, the energizing tea. Think of this as an IV drip for a sad, struggling plant. Mix 3 tablespoons of powder in a liter of water, let it steep for 24 hours, strain it, and then give your plant a good drink. It's like an instant vitamin shot. And technique number 3, which is my personal favorite for just everyday care, is the time bomb. You just mix a tablespoon of the powder into the top inch or so of soil. Then, every single time you water, it slowly releases a little dose of nutrients. It's slow-release food, the natural way. And as if that wasn't enough, here's another piece of pure genius from Maria. The next time you make orange juice, don't just squeeze the orange. Cut it in half, scoop out the inside, and you've got a perfect, natural, biodegradable pot for starting seeds. Just poke a little hole in the bottom for drainage. Then, when your seedling is big enough, you plant the whole thing, peel and all, right into the ground. The peel breaks down and feeds those young roots right when they need it most. It's the perfect system. Zero plastic, zero waste. Okay, before you dough and cover your entire garden in orange dust, there's one small but important warning. We need to talk for just a second about pH. It's no surprise, right? Citrus fruits are acidic. And the powder holds on to some of that acidity. Now, this is fantastic news for plants that love acidic soil. Think azaleas, blueberries, hydrangeas, even your tomatoes will love this stuff. But for plants that prefer more alkaline soil, like lilacs, for instance, you'll just want to use it a little more sparingly. You're not going to cause any damage, but it's just something to be aware of. For most of your garden veggies, though, it's pretty much perfect. You know, when I look back at how I used to do things, it's almost absurd. I was literally putting my orange peels in a plastic bag, sending them to a landfill where they create harmful gases, all while I was buying chemicals in plastic bottles that were shipped halfway across the world. We've been convinced we have to buy solutions that nature is literally handing us for free. So this is more than just a recipe for fertilizer. It's a small act of rebellion. So, with that in mind, I want to propose a challenge to you. It's really simple, and you can start today. For just 1 week, I want you to join me in this little rebellion. You don't need any special gear, and it barely takes any time at all. Here is your mission, should you choose to accept it. For the next 7 days, do not throw away a single citrus peel. Oranges, lemons, limes, whatever you've got, save them. Dry them out either in the sun or in your oven. Grind them up into your very first batch of gold dust. And then, go find that one plant in your house or garden that you're most worried about, the one that looks the saddest, and give it 1 tablespoon. Water it in, and then just watch what happens. I promise you, you are going to feel a kind of satisfaction that you can never, ever get from a store-bought product. The feeling of turning trash into treasure, of turning waste into life. So please, share this secret. Let's all stop throwing gold in the trash can. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go peel an orange. My rose bushes are looking hungry. Until next time, Rebel Gardener.